Why do most self-employed estate agents fail? Today, I'm joined by Stephen Wayne, who is an estate agent from North London. He also runs his own self-employed estate agency brokerage, and he's got a few fingers in other pies. So you've been in the game 20 years, Stephen. You've been running a self-employed estate agency now for 5, 6 years.
Yeah.
So you'd have been through plenty of people, so you've not experienced this. Why do most, and that's over 50% of self-employed estate agency fail? Talk to me.
Fine. So I think there's a few reasons. I think the first is money. I don't think some of them realise, and you're going for a new job. It takes 2, 3 months to get your rhythm going when you work for an estate agency where the phones are ringing. Starting from scratch, starting from zero, I just don't think people realise how long it's going to be before the first paycheck starts coming in. And then the first one might come in, but then the second one might not come in for a few months. So I think the first answer is I just don't think people have got enough money behind themselves to do it.
Is there a difference here between people who used to be estate agents versus those that do?
Not really. If you looked at the people who've been successful in the model, I actually don't think whether or not they've had a past in a estate agency is actually the answer. Are you a good networker? Are you happy to knock on doors? Are you going to go canvassing? Are you going to follow a plan? I've had people who've worked for me, and we've had the model a long time, and we've had some good people, we've had some great people, and we've had some awful people. And the common thing with the awful people is they haven't got a plan. They sort of get up and just think things are going to happen. They think they're going to put a couple of posts on Facebook and the world's just going to come to them. And it doesn't work like that. People might like it. And, I had somebody who said, this is what I'm going to do. And he had 400 likes on Facebook. No one reached out to say, I've got a property for you. And likes can be lost sometimes. And I think, people think it's going to be an easy journey. And people, I'm guilty. I'm going, you've probably seen, I'm on Instagram and TikTok and LinkedIn, and I'll have like 3 or 4 good months, and then I'll disappear, and then I'll get into it again. So I've now
Consistency.
you know what I'm like. Consistent. Anyone who works for me or has ever come across me, I'm obsessed with consistently consistent is sort of my motto in successful estate agency.
But you don't action it yourself on social.
Well, actually, I do now because I've now got a film crew who I work with twice every month, and they do it for me. But it wasn't a case of I didn't want to; I physically couldn't. I'd let other, and it's very hard to think every day I'm going to do this. You need to go, and I said this to other people, you've got to go and do 20 things and then you post them. And for me, I just, I've had, PAs, EAs, every kind of assistant, and they haven't done it for me either. But actually, I've actually found a happy medium now where I'll go out, I film, we go out for a morning twice a month, and it's all done for me. So from that side, I found my consistent way of doing it. And sometimes you have to outsource consistency. But with the self-employed models, the consistency is a problem for a lot of people as well, that they'll do something. We all know what works. If you sat here with me and 20 leaders of estate agency and said, right, write at me what you're going to do on day 1 to day 10, we probably all have the same list. But and everyone who starts in self-employed would all have the same list. The problem is, can you do it? And there was a book which Ben Taylor, I'm quite friendly with, from Keller. We went and played golf a few months ago. Atomic Habits, one of those type of books, yeah.
James Clear.
Really bad. I read that half of it, but I got the. Do you know the problem with these books and all these self-help books? They say what you and me could write in one chapter, in 400 pages. But I got the gist of the book, which is worry about doing the actions, don't worry about the end results.
Yeah, you're obsessed. You're obsessed about the actions, not obsessed about the results.
Exactly, and that's where people go wrong. Is they get too obsessed with the results and not the actions.
That's why I do these videos.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether someone watching this might take my ghostwriting services, but I don't care. But I do this because I get to meet interesting people. It just happens to be about topics that are of interest to the industry.
Yeah.
You, as an estate agent, need to do the same.
But that book taught me, I hate going to the gym, but I read that book. I thought, right, I'm going back to the gym. And since I read that book, I go to the gym 4 times a week, and I've done that now for 10 weeks. I don't weigh myself. I don't check myself, except for when my wife turns around and goes, are you sure you're going to the gym? And not for breakfast. But, I just go to the gym and I do. And I know that in 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, and I've already had people say, oh, you look better, and I feel better in myself. But I'm doing the habits, not worrying about the end results. And I think if you track back, a lot of estate agents will go out and drop leaflets for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. And then they'll stop. They'll start doing social media and then they'll stop. They'll go to networking events. And if they don't get that instant gratification, they stop. And I think, you know, when you talk about why people fail, that's probably one of the biggest keys is they expect quick. And, you know, I've gone and met someone, I've had people see my videos, and 9 months later, they've called me, you know, and as estate agents, I know you've talked about it for years, plant the seed and water it and look after it. And then it will, you know, and you'll get one flower there and one flower there and one flower there. You can't, you know, landlord farming is what we all originally bought into, you know, which is exactly what we're talking about here. And I think too many people want it now. They want it quick, quick, quick. And I think that's the problem with our generation. The other issue is some people just aren't good enough, you know, and also you can be a really good estate agent, but the self-employed world is not about estate agency. It's about listings. And you can go and be really good at viewings, you can be really good at follow-ups, but if you're really bad at valuations, then you've got nothing. Without stock, you have nothing. So you have to look in your network. You have to, you know.
I agree with you. The number of estate agents who are very good on the sofa, but not very good at actually getting themselves on the sofa.
Yeah. So you've got to know, you've almost got to be really good at marketing.
Generation.
Yeah. And if you actually went into most estate agents, they aren't very good at it. They don't want to do it. And actually, I don't think some people realize how good their directors and owners of businesses are at getting the brand out there. You know, we spoke earlier about the third option, which is almost like this hybrid of hybrids of self-employed agents within an office, which for me is the future. And I think what they get there is they've got VMDs and the people going out there and creating the name, the buzz. You know, I go and do social media videos. We've got 24 people in the company. Maybe 2 or 3 will ever do a video. You know, you know, I say to everyone, look, I'm doing this. I did a video the other day on TikTok. It had just shy of 1 million views. And I said to them, look at this. I'm not doing anything spectacular. I'm just doing it all the time. And I've just hit a good video and it gets shared and people bookmark it and they see your other videos. And I'm like, there's nothing genius about what I'm doing. I'm just doing it all the time. But people don't want to do that. And I think in the self-employed world, people have come from, you know, a corporate, don't realize, you know, great, you sold 10 houses last month, but where did they come from? And I think people who are going from being a really good estate agent to going to the self-employed world don't realize what actually it's about marketing. Can you go and network and then make sure you follow up on the cards? Go to, you know, you've got to be talking everywhere you go, lunches, dinners, in a cab, at the gym. You know, I pick up instructions from all over the shop. I don't even get to sell houses anymore.
Thank you for your insight today, Steve.
Pleasure.